So my presentation now will be completed with the last two elements, that is the use space and the certified category. So what I'm talking now is something that we are developing still in IASA. So I just will give you a very top level information on what are the principles behind. But we still not firm, still not clearly defined how the final shape will be. So I will not give you detail at this moment, also because especially for the use space we are quite changing almost daily. And also in the certified category we are in advanced stage now. So first of all, the use space. What is the use space? So we will expect that in the future, especially in the urban environment, there will be a large number of traffic of drones. Something will do professional activities, some other will do some leisure activities, and especially there will be drones flying beyond visual line of sight, for which there will be no one that is able to verify that the drone is flying in an area where there is no other obstacles. And we are working, for the urban air mobility, where there will be package delivery, and in the future also aerotaxi, where they are using drones. So since there will be a large number of this kind of aircrafts, and they will be also at a lower level that are compatible with the level of the building, this will be difficult to be managed by the current air traffic management system, where there are people behind that are looking at the situation. So we think that we should develop something completely different, something that will be fully automated. And this is what is the use space. So this is a term that was invented by the European Commissioner of Transport 2 years ago, to define the space where the UIS, or where at the lower level, where there will be a high concentration of operation. And is the equivalent of what in FAA, in the US, is called UTM. So UTM is the American version, U-Space is the European version, but we are addressing the same. So this will be a airspace structure or a volume of the airspace that will be designated by the member states. So we don't expect that all Europe will be covered by U-Space, because maybe if you are flying in the countryside where there are very lower number of drones, you don't need to have all this infrastructure to be put in place. Most probably in all urban environment there is a need, because we will have a large number of drones. But so will be some area where there will be provided some basic services. The basic service will be the identification. I told you before the direct identification, where there is a direct connection between my mobile phone and the drone. So the drone is transmitting in Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, whatever, and then my mobile phone that is in the range, in the radio range of the drone, will detect this number. Here instead, we need to have something that is a little bit broader. So the identification will be based on a network. So the drone will be connected to a network. Maybe the network will be the 5G or some kind of different network. Then this information will be provided to the network and will be shared to all other users, and also to the provider that is managing the service of the use space. Another important service will be the geo-awareness, and most probably in the next future the geofencing. So whenever there is a change in the zones, because maybe there is an accident and the police want to protect an area, so they can establish only for 3 hours a no-flight zone over an area. So this information will be immediately spread through the use space to all the users, and this means that the aircraft will be instructed if this no-flight zone is in the path that it was supposed to fly, to go somewhere else, to change its path. and avoid this area. Then all the information on traffic information to make sure that everybody knows what other drones are flying and we can avoid conflict. And flight authorization. There will be, before flying, it will be required that the operator file a sort of flight plan, and then he's been authorized to do the operation. And all of this one should be in something automatic, something that should be almost real time. So all these elements will be provided in such a way that we will have an harmonization all over Europe. We may have different providers, not only different countries, also in the same countries. You may have two providers in this country. Like today, I can connect my telephone to provider number 1, provider number 2, but you need to make sure that the minimum set of services are the same. So I can start my operation where an area covered only by operator number 1, and then I can finish my operation in an area where only operator number 2 is available. So I need to make sure that I have a contract, a connection with both operator, and then during flight, I will always be covered by all the services of the U-Space. And we want to make sure that as much as possible, these services will be provided by the markets as a competition. So you need to have multiple operators, and then whatever fits better your need, you can use. The development of U-Space will be in different phases. So these essential services here are for the first phases. Then little by little we will have additional services like the weather information, the separation between aircraft, then maybe also in the future can be done by the U-Space. So when it will be deployed at the end, this will enable also to have full autonomous operation to go from point A to point B, and where then we'll have not pilot on board not, but also no pilot on the ground controlling the aircraft, and the operator will just identify where it needs to start, where it needs to finish, and the aircraft by themselves, using the artificial intelligence plus the information that is provided by the U-Space, will be able to arrive safely from A to B, and the operator will just monitor it maybe, and maybe be able only to interrupt the operation when there is a need for whatever reason. So this is what we expect in the future to arrive. The opinion, so the opinion means the proposal from EASA to the European Commission, will be published in the next weeks. We already have a good draft that was presented to the Commission and also to the states last year. We had several comments, so we are now addressing all the comments to make sure that we addend the minimum requirements are acceptable all over Europe. We expect that then the discussion will be in the EASA committee starting from June, and then by the end of this year, or no later than the beginning of next year, this regulation may be in place, and we can start to have this kind of services. So this means that then, in order to fly in this area, you need to have a drone that is compatible with the U-Space, that is able to connect to the network and receive this information. This will be, at the end, the changes, the difference. And as a matter of fact, in the opinion on the standard scenario that I showed you before, the one that is introducing the standard scenario that will be in place 18 months after the adoption, we already put some new requirements on drones, also in the open category, to have this feature that can connect to the network and share this information to the network. So this way, drone compliance with this regulation may already be available in a short time. So there's not much at this moment I can tell to you, also because still this is evolving, and so for sure during the EASA committee, so with discussion with the member state, there may be some changes, also maybe in the kind of services that we need to develop. So we can provide you more real concrete information only at the end of this year. But so the important is that you understand that this system will come and will be more or less compatible with the same system with the UTM that is under development from the FAA. Now, the certified category. What is the certified category? So first definition. We define an operation in the certified category when the risk is so high such that the only way to fly the aircraft need to have the certification of the drone, so the type certificate according to part 21 with the simplification that we are going to build, the certification of the operator, and then the licensing of the remote pilot. For the licensing, maybe little by little the autonomy will reduce these requirements, and in the future we may have no remote pilot at all. So when it's classified, I told you before that we have the risk assessment, you do risk assessment, and then you know if we are in the specific or certified. But there are some cases in which we already know today that the operation can never fit in the specific category. The risk is so high that you always need to have the three elements. So first, when you fly with a large drone, large, more or less, 3 meters or more, over an assembly of people, so over a stadium, then there is no way, you always need to be certified, because then the risk you are posing to the people is very high, and you may really put in danger a large number of people. When you transport people, so yeah, we already think that in the future we will have drones with passengers, so in that case you always need to be certified. And when you transport dangerous goods, but not always, if I am able to show that in case of crash of the drone, I protected dangerous good such that the container will not break and the dangerous good will not spread out, I can do the operation in the specific category. But then I have very strict requirements I need to show to the competent authority that the container is very safe. If instead I'm not able to show this one, so that means I need to protect the flight. And so the full flight will be in the certified category. So only when the container is not proved that can contain the dangerous good in case of crash. So in these 3 cases, you are always in the certified category. Then, in addition, whenever you carry out risk assessment, you see that the risk is so high that you cannot do in the specific category. So the certified category means that we will use an approach now that is very similar to the manned aircraft. So we are now going to propose an amendment to all the regulation of manned aircraft. I will show you next slide which I'm talking about, in order to fit some operations. Now, also here we have a very large number of operations that may be done with the certified category. So at this moment, we decide to focus only on 3 of them. So we will develop the first MPA, notice of proposed amendment is the first proposal that will be open for consultation to everybody. So you can comment, provide your input. That will cover this kind of operation. First of all, operation type 1, instrumental flight rule operations of certified drones, cargo only, flying in airspace class Alpha to Charlie, and taking off and landing at aerodromes under EASA scope. So, what I'm talking about? Talking about a cargo drone, maybe with an A320 that is today, that will fly internationally from Europe to the United States, where there is some ICAO requirements to be followed. So at this moment, we don't think that we are ready to have an A320 with 300 passengers on board. So let's start with cargo only, because to simplify a little bit. When talking airspace class Alpha to Charlie means only controlled airspace. So airspace where there is an air traffic management system with a person behind that is able to make sure that there is a clear separation between aircraft, because until we don't have a detect and avoid system, we cannot rely on the fact that the drone will be able to separate autonomously by other aircraft. So in these classes, we mandate some transponders like ADSB, so the ATM knows exactly where all traffic is, so also the drone will be equipped with this kind of transponders. And so the separation will be ensured by the current air traffic management system. And then the aerodromes, there are some aerodromes depending on the size, on the number of passengers and under EASA responsibility, according to the regulation that I told you before that give the split between Europe and the member state, and other they are not. So at this moment we cannot regulate those that are not under EASA competency, but we can provide some inputs also for the other one. So at this moment, operation number 1 is those operations that will follow the ICAO approach that so will fly with a cargo, large cargo from country A to country B that is outside of Europe. But then we know that the most urgent operation we need to regulate are the urban air mobility. We already have some application in EASA from some companies that are proposing drones that will provide a sort of aero taxi. So this is something that will become sooner a reality. So we need to try to give them how to operate. So operation number 2 is a drone operation in congested area, so in the urban environment, or also outside, yeah. If they are able to do in the urban, we can also do outside. At this moment, only using predefined route. So tomorrow I can call, so today, you know, I can call Uber, I want to go from here to my house. Yeah, today I can do, but I think that in next future, we can also have the Uber drone that can do this one. But in the first phase, let's start something simple. So I cannot go from here to my house. Maybe I can go to the near vertiport that is here, to the near vertiport that is close to my house. So there will be only predefined routes where already before starting has been assessed what is the risk to going from A to B. Where use-based services are provided, yeah, because we expect that this will be lower level flight in urban environment, so they will be separated by the use space. And this will include the drones that will be with high level of automation, so a sort of electric vertical takeoff and landing drones. That is in reality what are the applications that we have today in EASA. So there are several European companies that here in Europe, but also in the United States as well, but also in China as well, other companies that are proposing this kind of drones. Now, so this was our initial plan. But then discussing also with these companies, we know that the first aerotaxi will not be unmanned. So the first project will be a taxi with a pilot on board, because we need to first learn a little bit on what will be the technology that will enable to have flights without really a pilot on board. We need to make sure that the population accept that I fly without a pilot on board. And so, in reality, is that the first urban air mobility most probably will be with pilot on board. So we decided to include in this proposal also all the change needed to allow operation like number 2, but performed with aircraft where there is a pilot on board. And then, so operation number 3 actually will be the first phase, and operation number 2 will be the second phase of what will happen in the future. So these are the 3 kind of operations that we will consider when we are going to develop this MPA. So what kind of regulation are affected? So here there are all regulations that are under the aviation system. So you can see that we need to modify most all of them. Initial airworthiness, part 21, Part 21 actually already includes some flexibility such that we can already certify today drones. But we want to have some additional level of proportionality, some additional simplification, because as I told you, we even would like to allow a manufacturer that is developing a drone that is classified in specific category, maybe also sell one, to voluntarily decide to have a type certificate under Part 21. So we want to make it a little bit easier. So then all the requirements for the continuing airworthiness, how to maintain this kind of aircraft, how to maintain a remote pilot station, the requirements on the flight crew, then will be very important because now all the competency are based on the fact that the pilot is seated there and they have a different kind of a different kind of input that they're receiving from the aircraft because they are directing on them. Air operations, a lot of mitigation. The air operation is on the fact that the pilot is there and is always able to mitigate at the end the final risk because he sees outside the cockpit what is happening. Now it's not the case anymore. Aerodrome, to allow vertiports and this vertical takeoff landing. All the requirements for air traffic management, also because now there is a pilot that can talk to the ATM. And then SERA, standardized European rules of the air, to make sure that we clarify what will be the requirements that the drones need to comply when they are flying in the airspace where there are some other manned aircraft. So this proposal will be a very large document, so we'll cover almost all field. And we are planning to have the MPA for the end of this year, but I think that we will inform everybody that we need to have some more time because more we develop it, more we study, and more we find that there are other areas to be more detailed. So maybe it will be more feasible mid of next year, mid of 2021, when the MPA will be available. At the end, this proposal, when it will be out, so let's say mid of next year, there will be around 3 months open for consultation. We will collect our comments from all the industries and also private citizens. We will assess all comments. We will make changes, and we are already doing this activity together again with a group made of member states, made of industry, made of operators. So they are helping us to develop this MPA. They are also helping us to assess the comments. And by mid of 2022, we expect that we may have the final proposal to the European Commission. After that, the European Commission will start the discussion with the member state, and not less than 1 additional year to have the regulation approved. So we can say that by mid of 2023 at the earliest, we may have all the regulation in place to allow this kind of operations. But as you can see, we are talking about some very complex operations that are exceeding the specific category. So also the industry in the meantime, they are working to develop this kind of concept. So the first comments we had from industry that these data are still on time with what is their approach. And so this is the end of my presentation. So now we can have additional questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Natale. It has been very useful for us. Možemo li imati vidim da imamo 2 pitanja, da odgovorimo na ova 2 koja su u vezi ove zadnje teme. So will U-Space public transportation drones use hydrogen batteries instead of lithium polymer? I don't think it's a question for this workshop, but if you wish to answer.
No, just I will restate that we don't mandate any kind of technology. Also, only in the open category, we mandate that the aircraft needs to be electrically powered. So we don't allow nothing else than electrically powered in the open category. For the rest, it's whatever is shown that is safe enough. So you can propose whatever solution, and the NAA or EASA, according to the competence I showed you before, will assess. So we are open to everything.
Okay, having heard all said today, I still have a question. I fly Phantom 3 and film for clients, both in rural and populated areas. I need insurance, correct? I have to register again, correct? I have to pass online test, correct? Anything else? I would say yes. DGU, AMC, and who knows what else, what kind of other permissions are required for this. Well, the question is very open, so it's really hard to say more in detail.
Yeah, so but no, Phantom 3 I guess is more than 100 grams. I don't remember yeah. Kilopoints. So it's not in category A1. So most probably it's in category A2. So this in addition to the online test, you need to have the face-to-face additional examination that is for the operation in A2. So again, just this one more than what is written here. Then depends where you are operating. If you are operating, even if in the rural environment, but there is a power plant there, and the state decides to protect the power plant, then there is a no-flight zone, then you cannot fly. So you need to, in addition to do your training, before starting the operation, you need to understand what are the geographical zones that are being imposed, what are the additional conditions that are being imposed by the competent authority. Other than this, there is no other requirements that you need to follow.
Except in Croatia. But you don't know about them. So anyway, when you say face-to-face exam, me and my colleagues, we are struggling to see, is such a thing written explicitly in the regulation that it has to be face-to-face, or?
Yeah, in order to clarify better, we are modifying with the standard scenario opinion. We propose a modification. Before it was written, the exam provided by the competent authority, we said provided at the competent authority or an entity recognized by the competent authority. But the approach since the beginning, also discussing with the group that developed the regulation, was that for A1 and A3, we can accept something online because it's a low risk. But A2, we are talking about something a little bit more risky. So we want to make sure that the person show there, because now I'm sure that everybody will behave in the best way. But I can do the online training with someone on my side that will help me answer to the question. And we know, but we are talking about a very low risk, and as long as he reads the training and is informed and understood what are the responsibility, because then if something goes wrong, you need to answer to the police. But we are talking about low risks that he will fall more or less in the countryside, so we don't care. But for the A2, then can be very dangerous. So we want to make sure that is that person. So this is the kind of risk that we want to address.
I wonder how many inspectors we will need to have to test all these people, because there are many.
I don't think it's much different from what you have today with a driving license. Driving license, at least in Italy, I can do my training whenever I want. Then I can decide if I can take the exam at the authority, or there are some schools that providing the training, or only the exam. I go there, do the exam, and then it's recognized. So it's the same approach.
Yeah, we don't have that system here. Okay, so how is the wingspan more of a danger than the mass of the aircraft? Mm-hmm. For example...
Yeah, good question. Yeah, so as a matter of fact, if you see the SORA, you will see that the risk level are based on the wingspan, on the size of the aircraft. And then in bracket, there is a reference to the energy. So the reason is based on the area of impact of a drone. So in case you crash, according to the size of your aircraft, you will cover an area that is so it's larger as larger is the drone, plus there are some additional buffer. So this is the area where you can put danger people. So behind the risk level there is a model based on population density. So bigger is the area, so it means that bigger is the area where you can pose dangers to people. So this is why, more than on the energy, the most important thing is how large is the area that you can cover. So this will drive the number of people that are allowed below. So you can see that in the risk level there are flights in a sparsely populated area, non-populated area, or in populated environment. And this is so the difference is larger is the drone, bigger is the area that you can cover, more number of people you can hit in that area.
Yes. A ček, samo. Da čuju i naši gledatelji online.
Hello, just a quick clarification about this. If you had a drone that is, for example, wingspan of 5 meters and 1 kilogram of mass, and you would have another drone that would have a wingspan of 1 meter but weight of 5 kilograms, that's not the same energy being transmitted. Because you proposed on one place that you have like 80 joules, like a limitation, and in this way those are completely different drones. Because a larger wingspan doesn't mean higher energy output during crashes.
Yeah.
You could impact maybe a larger number of people, but if a 5 kilogram drone crashes, it will probably kill 2 or 3 people, whereas the larger wingspan drone will maybe injure many people but not kill them. It's not the same.
Yes, so actually you can, the regulations say that you can classify C1 drone, all drones that they have an energy transferred up to 80 joules. We don't say anything about the wingspan, we don't say anything about additional weight. So potentially if you build about very fungible system, it can also be at 5 kilo drones to be classified as C1. So it's up to the manufacturer to demonstrate that they have this kind of characteristics. But whenever you exceed the threshold of 80 joules, then the size of the aircraft, the weight of the aircraft is not any more meaningful, because you are killing a person in case of crash. So now, even if it's small 5 kilo drones or large 5 kilo drones, you are still killing a person in case of crash. If it's large 5 kilo drones, we'll cover maybe an area of 10 square meters when it crash, so we'll kill all people within 10 square meters. If it's very small, maybe we'll cover an area of about 5 square meters. So it's just now how many people are injured based on the size of the aircraft. So whenever we exceed the 80 joules, all the credits that we can give to the drone that we can consider that in case of crash will not hurt people will be then over. So the only thing that we are concerned is on the sides.
Okay, thank you. Dobro, imamo još pola sata i to ćemo posvetiti odgovaranjima na pitanja. Ne rekao da je kraj. Tako da izvući ćemo iz arhive pitanja koja su postavljena, preskočit ćemo ona koja smo odgovorili, pa idemo jedno po jedno, pa koliko stignemo. Ok, ova prva 3 smo odgovorili, to možemo ići dalje. Jesmo. Isto, možemo još dalje. Ok. Where can I perform online training for C1 class UAS? To će biti pri Hrvatskoj agenciji za civilno zrakoplovstvo. Mi radimo na tom projektu i naš ciljani datum stavljanja tog online osposobljavanja i testa je 1.6. Tako da to će biti kod nas. Da si je Geofencing flag control, to smo rekli, ok, idemo dalje. Isto. Može još. Isto. Može dalje. Još. Is registration and test going to be free? Pa na razini agencije još nije o tome razgovarano, tako da teško možemo u ovom trenutku reći bilo kakav odgovor na ovo. Svi znate da u ovom trenutku registracija je potpuno besplatna ukoliko se u sustavu identificirate putem sustava e-građani. Ukoliko ne želite koristiti sustav e-građani, onda vas registracija košta 20 kuna administrativne pristojbe i ne vidim razloga zašto bi u budućnosti bilo drugačije, ali nemojte me uzimati za riječ, jer može se promijeniti politika firme i tako dalje. A što se tiče testa, zaista vam ne mogu ništa reći. Za normalne pilote to se naplaćuje, da li će biti kakva tarifa uvedena i za udaljene pilote, u ovom trenutku ne znamo. Možemo dalje. Može još. Ok, Mavic 2 Zoom je težak 905, odnosno Pro verzija 907 grama. Da li će se tolerirati ta mala razlika? S obzirom da je granica 900 grama, odgovor je ne. What about the footage? Does it need to be revised? Je li to DGU? Dalje. Do the drone identifier stickers need to be visibly placed outside on the drone, or can they be placed under the battery? Good question, Natale. What do you say?
We have an AMC that talks about this. So normally, it needs to be visible, placed outside, but we say that in case the size of the drone is very small, so then there's no way that you can put on it, then can be put in that case on the battery, but only if the size is too small. Otherwise, it always need to be outside in a visible place.
Ok. Izgleda da imamo problema sa tehnologijom, ali dobro, to će se riješiti. Imamo ovo pitanje. Pretpostavljam da je pitanje bilo 5-year refresher requirements will be set by NAA. Ovo 2 je vjerojatno drugo pitanje bilo, jel? Ne, to je zahtjev europske uredbe. To ne zahtijevamo mi kao nacionalno tijelo, nego je to zahtjev europske uredbe. What about AMC portal application? To smo rekli, to ostaje. What does self-practical test should include and why do you think it should be enough to verify that somebody actually knows how to fly and operate a drone? That's a very nice question and I would like Natale to answer that. What happens if aircraft navigation sensors fail and the aircraft still can be flown but the user pilot does not have sufficient experience to control it? Mirror flying in VLOS, loss control, and aircraft goes BVLOS. Needs to perform emergency landing with the help of observer, etc.
So the practical test, so just to remind, we are talking about the A2, in which we require a practical self-practical test, and while instead for A1 and A3 we don't require. Let's start. No practical test will ever require in the open category practical test. We just ask to have a self-practical training for the A2, and we don't ask for any specific practical self-practical training for A1 and A3. While instead in the standard scenario, we require a continuous training on the practical activity done by this operator that is recognized, that has been declared. So this means that we focus more on the theoretical training than on the practical. This is correct. Okay. So we focus more on the theoretical training than on the practical. We rely on the fact that at this moment most of drones, they have some technical feature that simplify the operation of the drone and reduce the required skills. And also with the C marking, there will be now a process in which we can verify that this kind of that the drones will work properly. Now, still it can happen. I understand that, and it's correct. It can happen that the drone fails, and we will have a flyaway. But what we expect is that the probability is low, and is not at the end cost effective to mandate this kind of practical skill with for the pilot that at the end maybe we'll try this operation once, then after 2-3 years maybe he can have one of these events, and most probably he will already have forgotten. So what we try to levy is on the technical requirements, to develop standards and also verification methods such that we would like to reduce as much as possible failure on the drones. So today we don't have any kind of verification. I can build a drone, check it is good or not. Nobody's at the end is verifying, put on the market. Maybe it's a very crappy drone, and every 2 days it will fly away. We don't expect this is the same case tomorrow. The C marking requires that there will be a third-party verification. So when I put on the market a drone, first I comply with all the requirements. Then I need to contact an entity that has been appointed by the market regulation authority in each country. This entity checks my design, do some tests, verify that the aircraft is really meeting the requirements, and also there is some requirements on the process that they need to develop the drone such that we can give them some kind of reliability. So this is why now, giving some additional technical requirements, we were able to reduce the competency of the pilot. So this was the balance, as I said before. So the C marking allowed us to reduce the need of practical training, because we consider now that the drone may be much more reliable.
Okay, next question is about state activities. And in the basic regulation, which has been mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, there is a rule that state activities do not have to comply with these rules. So these state activities, however, all member states should strive as much as possible to have these activities also conducted in accordance with these rules. Now, the question is obviously here that how are these activities conducted in the light of dynamic airspace management and dissemination of restrictions in airspace in real time? I believe that here in Croatia that works very nice. Thanks to Croatian air traffic control, who developed this beautiful application and portal in which all these questions have been taken care of. If you have to complement anything, please feel free. If not, I will switch to Croatian now. Mi imamo dosta upita naših službi koje smatramo državnim aktivnostima poput vatrogasaca, HGSS-a, pa Ministarstvo mora koje nadzire zagađenja na moru, promet na moru i tako dalje, Search and Rescue. I imamo ovdje kolegu Petrovića iz HGSS-a kojeg ja uvijek navodim kao primjer dobro organizirane državne aktivnosti. Pa možda, Danijel, ako želiš par riječi reći ono što bi mene interesiralo, a mislim da je možda ove druge koji ovdje namjeravaju se možda posvetiti tim državnim aktivnostima, je na koji način rješavate upravo ovo što je u pitanju navedeno, a to je Dynamic Airspace Management and Dissemination of Restrictions in Airspace in Real Time. Pretpostavljam da ste uspostavili nekakve postupke sa kontrolom leta.
Znači, hvala na ovom pitanju. Prije svega da vam odgovorim da ono kad smo i u prvom trenutku rekli, da ne samo za korisnike javnih službi, nego i za sve ostale postoji AMC portal, koji je zapravo vrhunski alat jer on dozvoljava da u realnom vremenu dižete svoje zone koje su zapravo vrlo dinamične, zato jer mogu biti na području na kojem se vi trenutno nalazite, a isto tako mogu se izmicati. Najbolja stvar u tome svemu je da svi sudionici imaju direktan uvid u to gdje se odvija. I bez razlike da li je neko u javnoj službi koje ste naveli ili je privatna osoba, svakako je obavezan to raditi. Dakle, nijedna javna služba nas ne može izuzimati od pravila ponašanja, regulative i zakona koji vladaju u zračnom prostoru. Imamo neke ovlasti koje su nama dobrodošle. To znači da možemo dizati strukture koje su recimo temporary segregated areas, znači zone u koje ne može niko ulaziti osim nas kad u njima radimo bez našeg znanja, ali to su samo neke od pogodnosti. Nikako ne smijemo dozvoliti da se u nekim dijelovima koje se i ovdje provlači, a to je bilo da se ova uredba neće primjenjivati na državne službe, da se pod pokrivljem toga te službe izuzimaju od primjene ostale regulative koja je potrebna. Dakle, to je svakako potrebno tu naglasiti. Mogućnosti postoje, daleko smo, mislim, ispred većeg dijela konkurencije, to jest ostatka Europe, baš po tom alatu i smatram da treba pohvaliti i dalje gurati.
Ok, hvala ti lijepo. For C1, C2, C3 proof of competence issued, for example, by ENAC, will be valid in all member states. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely yes. So all competency requirements, all certificate or authorization issued by one member state will be valid all over Europe. And especially for training, we are working with member states to also try to harmonize as fast as possible the online training that you can have in different states, and also to maybe be able to build a database of questions that will be common between all member states. So this will make sure that one training done in one member state will exactly be the same on the other one. But in any case, if you do a training here, it will always be recognized in all other European countries.
Why is the police introduced as the authority regarding UAS flights? I don't think it's introduced, but it's one of the options that the state may elect.
Yeah, so it's up to the member state to define who will be. Now, I don't know how many people are in the Croatian Aviation Authority. If you are able to, 3 people. So 3 people to go around all parks and check if someone...
And be at every wedding and baptizing.
Yeah. So it's up to the member state, but we expect that maybe police or other authorities that are really on the field around the city, they will be able to see if someone is flying in an area where they're not supposed to do, and then can intervene. Not the oversight. So these 3 persons will do the oversight, yeah, to all operators.
Dobro, možemo dalje, malo gore, ili dole, kako ste već veli. will the drones currently available at the market be CE certified? In example, Phantom 4, Inspire 2, as there are so many of them flying around now. Otherwise, we would need to buy new ones, correct?
Yeah, so the CE marking is provided only when a manufacturer demonstrates that the project comply with the technical requirements defined by the regulation. So there is no way to give a CE marking on something that is already put on the market. So this means that maybe tomorrow there will be Phantom 4 CE marked, so a new version that will be have a CE marking, then depending what is strategy, C2, C3, whatever they want. But your drones that you have today without a CE marking cannot then be considered as a C2, C3. Do not consider that also. You should consider that today all drones already have a CE marking because there are some other regulation that applies. For example, the radio directive regulation applies to everything that is emitting. So on my cell phone, drones are emitting, yes, so there is a CE marking. And there are other regulations, other directives for which they already have a CE marking to show compliance. What we are talking here is a new CE marking class, C0, C1, C2, C3, C4, that we show compliance with additional requirements. So today they already have this CE marking for other directive, not for the drones regulation, and only drones that since the beginning they are developed following the new regulation then can be with the CE marking. So you can still use your drones without CE marking now for these first 2 years according to the limited open category as I showed you before, or then in the future in considering them as privately built. So if below 250 grams in A1, if above 250 grams below 25 kilos in A3, so in the countryside.
Okay, next one.
Or in the specific category. So they can always be operated in specific category.
Okay, the next one we answered. For flying with drones like Mavic 2, close to people, pilot needs to go through tests. Nisam ga naučio na pamet, a ga možete malo vratiti. Tu smo, okay. Okay, the question is actually where to learn from. It's a good question because there is no dedicated literature that we would say, okay, that's it. There are many, many kinds of publications that you may use for the learning. However, Croatian Civil Aviation Agency is developing online training for the pilots. So whatever you will find in the tests, you will be able to catch that information during our online training. So there's no need to search elsewhere. That's the answer to this question for online. Za face to face ne znam šta ćemo. Ajmo dalje. How many professional drone pilots I have? Sorry? Odgovorio. Krivi prijevod, dobro. In case of war. Ništa, ajmo dalje. Nema rata. How is the compliance with the rules and should declare training? We talked about that. What will be procedure when selling a drone? Well, you take the money and run. Zaista ne znam šta je točno operator mislio. Vjerojatno treba će ažurirati svoju registraciju ili jednostavno javiti ja više nisam operator i mi ćemo ga izbrisati iz baze i to je to. Ne? Molim? Yes. What will be the procedure? Okay, so why do the DJI geo zones don't overlap with actual ones?
Because there are no actual ones.
Exactly.
So at this moment, DJI was very proactive to already develop the geofencing, not even geo-awareness, the geofencing, defining zones based on their best guess on what should be protected. So in some cases they know from the member state and they introduce. In other cases they added other zones because they thought that was meaningful, but it was just their initiative. What they will do now is as soon as all zones will be developed according to the European regulation. They will delete their zones, but they will use their infrastructure, because they just now need to change the current zone that they have to the real one published by the member state, and then you can only fly in the area where the member state decided, not the DJI.
Ja bih se samo nadovezao, u Hrvatskoj će biti pokrenut projekt u kojem ćemo pitati sve jedinice lokalne i regionalne samouprave, jer svaka od njih ima zapravo pravo definirati zone gdje ne žele da neko leti. I to je poprilično kompleksan projekt koji će trajati izvjesno vrijeme, to Europa od nas zahtijeva. A što se tiče samog DJI-a, to mislim da dolazi do nesporazuma gdje nije da kineske vlasti njima govore šta da oni zabrane, nego oni kao proizvođač uzmu kritična područja, kao što su stadioni nakon onog incidenta u Albaniji, odnosno na Kosovu i tako dalje, odnosno na osnovu toga oni kažu, mi svugdje na nogometnim terenima nećemo dati da se leti. I sad ja shvaćam da to može predstavljati probleme za vas kao operatore, ali to morate shvatiti da to nijedna vlast nije njima nametnula, nego oni kao proizvođač to imaju pravo staviti. A na vama je pravo da vi ne kupite taj dron. Isto to je pravo tržišta. Dakle, oni sami to rade svjesno i ako vama to ne odgovara, vi imate drugih milion dronova na tržištu koji možda nemaju iste performanse, pa se sad morate naći balans. Ili ćete svaki put kad vam treba, ne znam koliko često. Naravno, oni uvijek postoji mogućnost da ih kontaktirate, oni vam to otključaju i to je to. I to je normalna cijena koju vi plaćate da biste letili DJI-ev dron. Samo eto, mislim da bi bilo dobro da shvatite da nije da mi njima govorimo zabranite zatvore, zabranite ovo, nego oni kao proizvođač sami to rade. Ono što ćemo mi kasnije definirati, odnosno EASA i mi kao Republika Hrvatska, su zone koje će oni morati implementirati iz karata, koje će biti definirane jasno, biti objavljene i onda ti dronovi tamo neće moći ići.
Ok, 3 sata. Možemo mikrofon gospodinu?
So I have another additional question about CA declaration. Since you are talking about the new drones will have new standards for CA declaration, my question is how are you going to determine or set the low failure rate? Because the manufacturer have to prove via technical standards, which are you going to prescribe, that he is having a low failure rate on his products. How are you going to set this rate?
So we don't have any specific requirements to demonstrate that it's a low failure rate yet, because at this moment we don't want to have a full certification like we have for the certified category, otherwise it will be too expensive. What we define is some standards. So we have a group standardization body that is called ASD-STAN, that at this moment is working with several manufacturers, and they are developing what are the standards that needs to be used by the manufacturer to show compliance with the regulation, to give a CE marking. And so for each of the requirements, they will identify what are the minimum elements that they need to demonstrate, and also what kind of testing they need to show to the third party that will verify that these drones is compliant with this regulation. So they will identify conditions. In some cases, also some conditions that are at limits of the environmental flight or the condition where the flights can fly, such that they will show that the drone is behaving as was supposed to do in a number of time with those conditions. So we don't mandate the full set of a process that we have for manned aviation. At the end will give you a very good understanding that the drone, the aircraft is meeting the minimum reliability requirements. But we are sure that with this standard we are improving the development process and the testing process such that we will reduce the number of misbehaving. But I don't think that for drones that we want to keep as cheap as they are, we can at the moment ask much more. And then we will see also that as soon as the technology will develop, the reliability of the drone will be always better. But we cannot at the end impose some specific requirements related to the reliability.
Okay, thank you.